Welcome. Today, we delve into one of humanity's most profound and ancient questions. What happens to the soul after death? This slide encapsulates the core perspectives on this complex topic. Fundamentally, many spiritual and philosophical traditions posit that upon physical death, the soul, often conceived as the essence of a being, its consciousness or its spirit, separates from the corporeal body. This separation is not seen as an end, but rather a profound transition. The soul is then believed to embark on a journey, traversing realms or states of existence beyond our current comprehension. The nature of this journey and the soul's ultimate destination are subjects of immense diversity in human belief. Some traditions speak of a specific afterlife, a heaven or hell, or a unified consciousness. Others propose reincarnation, where the soul returns to a new physical form to continue its evolution. Still others suggest a dissolution back into a universal energy or nothingness. These perspectives, while varied, universally acknowledge a significant shift in the soul's state, moving from the physical plane to an entirely different dimension of existence. The question of what happens to the soul after death is not merely a philosophical construct, but a deeply ingrained human inquiry that has captivated minds across millennia. From the earliest cave paintings to contemporary scientific debates, every civilization, every culture, and virtually every individual has grappled with this profound mystery. This universal fascination stems from our innate desire to comprehend our existence, our consciousness, and our ultimate destiny. It speaks to our hope for continuity, our search for meaning, and our contemplation of a realm beyond the physical, anchoring itself as a cornerstone of human thought and spiritual exploration. The concept of the soul stands as one of humanity's most enduring and multifaceted inquiries, interpreted vastly across disciplines. From a philosophical and theological standpoint, the soul is often posited as an immaterial, immortal essence, a fundamental animating principle distinct from the physical body, housing consciousness, will, and identity, and often believed to persist beyond death. Conversely, scientific and psychological perspectives frequently approach the soul not as a separate entity, but as an emergent property of complex brain function. In this view, consciousness, thought, emotions, and personal identity, what many might colloquially refer to as the soul, are intricate manifestations of neurological processes and psychological states. Across diverse cultures and spiritual traditions, the soul takes on varied interpretations. It can be a vital life force, a spirit, inhabiting and giving energy to the body, or a core, enduring identity that transcends physical existence. Understanding these varied conceptual frameworks is crucial for any comprehensive discussion on the soul's fate after death. Across cultures and millennia, humanity has grappled with the profound question of what happens to the soul after death. This slide navigates these diverse perspectives, revealing a rich tapestry of beliefs. Many Eastern traditions, including Hinduism and Buddhism, articulate a concept of cyclical existence, where the soul undergoes reincarnation, rebirth into new forms based on karma. This journey is often viewed as an opportunity for spiritual evolution and purification. In contrast, Abrahamic faiths and various ancient polytheistic religions frequently describe distinct afterlife realms. These include paradisial heavens, punitive hells, or structured underworlds, often determined by one's actions and piety during earthly life. Furthermore, numerous indigenous spiritualities and animistic traditions emphasize the soul's enduring connection to the natural world, ancestral spirits, or a broader spirit realm, often without a fixed endpoint, but rather a continued presence and influence. Collectively, these beliefs underscore a universal human endeavor to comprehend mortality and our place within the cosmic order. Today, we embark on a profound exploration into one of humanity's most enduring questions: what happens to the soul after death? Our journey through this presentation will encompass a comprehensive examination of this intricate subject. First, we will establish a foundational understanding by delineating diverse definitions of the soul and the concept of death, drawing from various spiritual, philosophical, and scientific viewpoints. Subsequently, we will engage in a comparative analysis, exploring the multitude of afterlife theories proposed across different cultures, religious traditions, and philosophical schools of thought. Finally, we will contemplate the profound practical implications and societal impact that these deeply held beliefs have on the human experience, shaping our values, our understanding of purpose, and our approach to life itself. This presentation aims to provide a structured overview, inviting critical reflection on this fundamental mystery. The dualist perspective offers a foundational understanding of the soul's fate, positing a fundamental separation between mind and body. Ancient Greek philosopher Plato articulated this by asserting the soul's immortality. For Plato, the soul is an eternal, non-physical entity that pre-exists and survives the body, destined to return to the world of forms. Centuries later, René Descartes, a prominent figure in Western philosophy, further developed dualism. He distinguished between the mind, or res cogitans, a non-physical, thinking substance, and the body, or res extensa, a physical, extended substance. Descartes proposed that these distinct entities interact, notably through the pineal gland. Both Plato and Descartes, despite their different historical and philosophical contexts, underscore the idea that the soul is not merely an emergent property of the body, but an independent entity capable of existence beyond physical death. Monism and materialism present a philosophical framework wherein the entirety of reality, including the human mind, is fundamentally physical. From this perspective, there is no distinct non-physical soul or spirit that exists independently of the body. Consciousness, in this view, is understood not as a separate entity, but as an emergent property. It arises directly from the intricate biological processes and complex interactions within the brain's neural networks. It is the sophisticated output of billions of neurons firing and communicating in specific patterns. Consequently, when the brain ceases to function at the time of death, these neural activities halt. With the cessation of brain activity, consciousness as an emergent phenomenon dissipates, ceasing to exist. Therefore, within the materialist paradigm, the concept of a soul persisting beyond physical death is not supported, as consciousness is irrevocably tied to the living brain. Idealism, a profound philosophical perspective, posits that reality is fundamentally mental or consciousness-based, not material. In this view, the external world we perceive does not exist independently as solid matter, but rather as ideas, perceptions, and sensations within a mind. The very fabric of our reality is, in essence, a mental construction. This philosophical framework offers a compelling context for understanding the non-physical soul. If reality itself is a manifestation of mind, then a soul, understood as a form of non-physical consciousness, aligns perfectly within this paradigm. Consequently, the dissolution of the physical body does not necessitate the termination of the soul, as its existence is not contingent upon material form, but upon its inherent conscious nature. This perspective opens the door to considering the soul's persistence beyond physical death, as an enduring aspect of consciousness within a fundamentally mental universe. Existentialism, a profound philosophical movement, posits that existence precedes essence. This fundamental principle dictates that individuals are born into the world without pre-assigned purpose or inherent meaning. Instead, through their choices, actions, and lived experiences, they actively construct their own essence and identity. Central to this perspective is the challenging confrontation with finitude, the ultimate prospect of non-existence. The void of non-existence is conceptualized not merely as an absence, but as a radical, irreversible cessation. It signifies the complete and utter dissolution of consciousness, self, and all subjective experience. For existentialists, this annihilation presents a profound challenge to human desires for continuity and meaning beyond life. However, by acknowledging this ultimate endpoint, individuals are compelled to embrace their radical freedom and responsibility. In a universe devoid of inherent, pre-established meaning, it becomes humanity's task to actively create value, purpose, and significance within their finite lives, accepting that this meaning is self-generated and not divinely bestowed or eternally guaranteed. The question of whether consciousness can survive physical death stands as one of humanity's most profound philosophical and scientific debates. At its core, this inquiry asks if our subjective experience, our sense of self, is merely an emergent property of complex brain activity, ceasing when the brain expires, or if it possesses an independent, non-physical nature capable of existing beyond corporeal form. The materialist perspective asserts that consciousness is wholly a product of the brain and its neural networks, therefore dissolving with brain death. Conversely, non-materialist or dualist viewpoints propose that consciousness may be distinct from the physical body, potentially able to transcend physical limitations. This fundamental debate profoundly impacts our understanding of life, death, and the very nature of existence. In Abrahamic traditions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, a foundational belief is the soul's immortality. While specific doctrines and eschatological visions may vary, these faiths universally uphold that the human soul is an eternal essence, distinct from the physical body, and persists beyond biological death. This shared understanding posits that death is not an end, but a transition, leading to a divine accounting. All three traditions anticipate a form of ultimate judgment, where the soul faces consequences for its earthly deeds. Furthermore, a core tenet across these faiths is the expectation of an afterlife, whether conceived as a spiritual paradise, a realm of righteous reward, or a state of divine presence, and, for many, a future bodily resurrection, affirming the soul's enduring journey and ultimate destiny. Christianity posits that the human soul, created in God's image, is immortal and continues its existence beyond physical death. Upon passing, individuals undergo divine judgment, a pivotal moment where their earthly life is weighed, determining their eternal destination. The righteous are granted entry into heaven, a state of eternal communion with God, while those who rejected divine grace face eternal separation in hell. This judgment is not the final act. Christians also anticipate the bodily resurrection, where souls will be reunited with glorified bodies at the culmination of history, marking the ultimate establishment of God's new creation. Christian theology posits distinct post-mortem states for the soul: heaven, hell, and, within Catholic doctrine, purgatory. Heaven is understood as the eternal communion with God, the ultimate beatitude and fulfillment of human longing, promised to those who die in His grace. Scripturally, it is often described as a place of immeasurable joy, peace, and the direct vision of God, as referenced in passages like Revelation chapters 21 and 22, depicting a new heavens and new earth free from suffering. Conversely, hell represents the eternal separation from God, a state of definitive self-exclusion for those who, through their free will, irrevocably reject divine love and remain unrepentant. The Bible speaks of hell as a place of eternal fire and outer darkness, signifying profound suffering and absolute isolation, as found in Matthew 25:41-46. It is not a punishment inflicted by God, but the tragic consequence of one's own ultimate choice against Him. Purgatory, specific to Catholic and some Eastern Orthodox traditions, is not a third destination, but a state of purification for souls destined for heaven. It is for those who die in God's grace, but are not yet perfectly purified to enter the divine presence. Drawing from scriptural implications such as 1 Corinthians 3:15, which speaks of being saved as through fire, purgatory is understood as a process where venial sins and the temporal punishment due to sin are expiated, preparing the soul for the full glory of heaven. This purification is an act of divine mercy, allowing souls to achieve the holiness required for complete union with God. In Christian theology, the aftermath of death involves two distinct yet interconnected phases. Firstly, upon physical demise, the soul of a believer is understood to immediately depart the body, entering a conscious, disembodied state in the direct presence of God. This is often referred to as the intermediate state, a period of blissful communion while awaiting the ultimate eschatological event. Secondly, and critically different, is the doctrine of the resurrection of the body. This is a future universal event where all bodies will be raised from the dead. For believers, these bodies will be transformed into glorified, imperishable forms, reunited with their souls. This future resurrection, distinct from the immediate destination of the soul, signifies the completion of redemption and the full restoration of humanity, body and soul, to eternal dwelling with God, reflecting the hope for a new heavens and a new earth. In Islam, the journey of the soul after death is a meticulously defined spiritual process. It begins with the departure of the ruh, or soul, a divine essence that animates the body. Upon physical death, the ruh separates from the corporal form, retaining its consciousness and individuality, embarking on an immediate transition to the next stage of existence. This subsequent phase is known as barzakh, an intermediary realm or barrier existing between death and the Day of Judgment. During their time in barzakh, souls experience a foretaste of their ultimate destiny. For the righteous, it is a period of peace and spiritual comfort. For the disobedient, a time of suffering and regret. It is a waiting state, not yet the final destination, where the soul remains aware and accountable. The ultimate culmination of this journey is the akhirah, the hereafter. This encompasses the resurrection, when all souls are rejoined with their resurrected bodies, followed by the Day of Judgment. On this momentous day, every individual's deeds are weighed before God, leading to their final placement in Jannah, or heaven, a paradise of eternal bliss, or Jahannam, hell, a place of profound consequence. This profound sequence underscores the Islamic belief in accountability and eternal life. The Islamic perspective on the afterlife culminates in Qiyamah, the Day of Judgment. This is the ultimate, universal reckoning when all souls, from the dawn of creation until its end, will be resurrected and gathered before the divine for accountability. Every deed, every intention, and every belief will be meticulously presented and weighed on the mizan, the divine scales of justice. This is a day of profound truth where nothing is hidden and absolute justice is administered. Following this comprehensive judgment, souls will be consigned to their eternal abodes. Those whose good deeds and sincere faith outweigh their transgressions will enter Jannah, paradise, a realm of unimaginable beauty, eternal bliss, and divine proximity, characterized by flowing rivers, lush gardens, and peace beyond comprehension. Conversely, those whose evil deeds prevail and who rejected truth will enter Jahannam, hellfire, a realm of severe eternal suffering characterized by intense heat, torment, and profound regret. This final division underscores the profound importance of righteous living and sincere faith in Islam, as the destiny of the soul is eternally determined on this momentous day. In Judaism, the concept of the soul is multifaceted and eternal, often described through three distinct yet interconnected levels: the nephesh, representing the vital life force and physical connection, the ruach, embodying the emotional and intellectual spirit, and the neshama, the highest, most divine aspect, a direct spark of God within each individual. Upon physical death, the Jewish tradition teaches that the soul embarks on a journey of purification and spiritual ascent, returning to its divine source. This journey culminates in the concept of Olam Haba, the world to come. Olam Haba is not merely an afterlife, but a profound spiritual state or realm, envisioned as a time of ultimate reward, resurrection, and a perfected existence where souls achieve complete unity and communion with the divine. It represents the ultimate fulfillment of God's plan for creation and humanity.
גיהינום וגן עדן רפרזנטות פרופאונד ספיריטואלית וחוט, רבים מדברים על פרופאונד ספיריטואלית סטייטס, רק כנלא כן לוקציות לא טיבות הטובים. גיהינום הן כפה כפרוצס של ספיריטואלית פירוטציה, פונקציונים כ-refining fire שקליינזס הסול מאקומולציות התפרצויות והחן. This phase involves intense self-reckoning, allowing the soul to rectify past misdeeds and prepare for a higher spiritual existence. Subsequently, the soul may ascend to Gan Eden, which symbolizes the ultimate spiritual reward, a state of profound unmediated connection with the divine. It is a realm of pure spiritual bliss, signifying a soul's return to its pristine essence ואת deepest communion with her creator. Both concepts underscore a soul's continuous journey of rectification and towards its divine source.
In Abrahamic traditions, angels serve as essential agents in the soul's post-mortem journey. They are depicted as divine messengers, often present at the moment of death, guiding souls from the earthly realm. Angels meticulously record each individual's deeds during life, information critical for the eventual divine judgment. They may also act as escorts, leading souls through various stages of the afterlife towards their ultimate destination. Complementing this angelic role is the concept of divine decree. This doctrine posits that each soul's eternal fate is part of God's omniscient, predetermined plan. While human actions and free will are acknowledged, the ultimate outcome rests within the divine will, ensuring a just and sovereign process. Finally, within certain Abrahamic faiths, the concept of intercession exists. Here, angels, and sometimes revered prophets or saints, may advocate for souls, seeking mercy or a favorable judgment, illustrating a complex interplay between divine justice, predetermined will, and compassionate intervention. Together, these elements underscore a highly structured and divinely orchestrated journey for the soul after death. Dharmic traditions encompassing Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism offer profound perspectives on the soul's journey after death. Central to these philosophies is the concept of samsara, the continuous cycle of rebirth, where the soul, or Atman in Hinduism, transmigrates through various forms of existence. This journey is meticulously governed by the law of karma, where every action, thought, and word creates consequences that determine future rebirths, shaping one's destiny across countless lifetimes. The ultimate aspiration within these traditions is moksha or nirvana, liberation from this cycle of samsara. This state signifies the soul's release from suffering, the cessation of rebirth, and the attainment of enlightenment, or union with the divine, representing the soul's ultimate freedom and spiritual transcendence. In Hinduism, the understanding of the soul begins with Atman, the eternal, unchanging individual soul or self, distinct from the perishable body and mind. This Atman is believed to be inherently divine, a spark of the ultimate reality. That ultimate reality is Brahman, the universal consciousness, the absolute truth from which all existence originates and to which it ultimately returns. A core tenet asserts the profound unity, Atman is Brahman. Following physical death, the Atman does not cease to exist, but enters samsara, the endless cycle of rebirth and reincarnation. This transmigration is governed by karma, the accumulated actions and their consequences from past and present lives. The soul continues through this cycle, inhabiting various forms, until it achieves moksha, liberation from samsara, and realizes its true identity, merging back with Brahman. Within the Hindu tradition, karma is the immutable law governing action and consequence. Every thought, word, and deed generates a correspondingly action, which accrues to an individual's spiritual ledger. This karmic residue does not dissipate upon physical death. Instead, it becomes the determining factor in the soul's subsequent journey through samsara, the continuous cycle of rebirth. The nature of one's next incarnation, be it human, animal, or another form, is directly influenced by the accumulated karma from past lives. This unfolding across lifetimes ensures that all actions ultimately bear fruit. The spiritual consequences are profound. individuals are bound to the cycle of rebirth by their karmic attachments, experiencing both the rewards and repercussions of their deeds. The ultimate spiritual aim, known as moksha, represents liberation from this cycle, achieved by transcending karmic bonds and realizing the soul's eternal, divine essence. In Hinduism, moksha stands as the ultimate spiritual aspiration, the profound liberation from samsara, the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and its inherent suffering. This exalted state signifies the release of the individual soul, or Atman, from material attachments and its reunion with the universal spirit, Brahman. Attainment of moksha is not merely an escape, but a profound realization of one's true divine nature. It is achieved through dedicated spiritual knowledge, unwavering devotion, selfless action, and deep meditation, ultimately culminating in self-realization and eternal peace. Moksha signifies the cessation of all worldly limitations and the attainment of absolute, unceasing bliss. Buddhism presents a distinct perspective on the self and consciousness, rooted in the doctrine of anatta, or no self. This fundamental principle asserts that there is no permanent, unchanging soul or fixed ego that constitutes an inherent self. Instead, all phenomena, including the self, are understood as impermanent, interdependent, and constantly in flux. Consciousness itself is not a static entity, but rather a dynamic, continuously flowing stream of interconnected moments, arising and ceasing in dependence on various conditions. This stream of consciousness is shaped by karmic imprints from past actions and volitions. Upon death, this karmic stream does not cease, but rather continues, influencing and giving rise to new forms of existence. Rebirth, in the Buddhist view, is therefore not the transmigration of a fixed individual soul, but the ongoing process of this karmic consciousness stream manifesting in new forms, driven by attachment and ignorance. The cessation of this cycle, known as nirvana, involves the complete extinguishing of the causes for rebirth. Buddhist understanding of post-mortem existence deviates significantly from notions of an eternal, unchanging soul. Instead of an Atman or permanent self, Buddhism posits that what continues after death is a stream of consciousness, karmic imprints, and the aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, which are in a constant state of flux. Rebirth is not the transmigration of a fixed entity, but rather a process of dependent origination, best illustrated by the analogy of a flame passing from one candle to the next. The new flame is causally connected to the previous one, yet it is not identical. This elucidates a profound continuity and transformation without the presence of an immutable self, emphasizing the impermanence and interconnectedness in all conditioned existence. In Buddhist philosophy, nirvana is the ultimate spiritual goal, signifying the complete cessation of suffering. This profound state is not an afterlife, but rather the extinguishing of the self as a fixed, independent entity, alongside the eradication of all craving, aversion, and ignorance that perpetuate the cycle of rebirth, known as samsara. Attaining nirvana means liberation from this cycle, resulting in an unparalleled state of profound peace, ultimate freedom, and unconditioned joy, experienced here and now, transcending all worldly attachments and delusions. In ancient Egypt, the soul's journey after death was a profound and meticulously documented process. Upon passing, the deceased soul embarked on a perilous voyage through the Duat, the underworld, guided by spells and incantations from the Book of the Dead. This journey was fraught with challenges, requiring the soul to navigate mystical landscapes and encounter various deities. The ultimate test awaited in the Hall of Two Truths, where the pivotal weighing of the heart ceremony took place. Here, the deceased's heart, believed to be the repository of consciousness and morality, was placed on a scale and balanced against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, order, and justice. Anubis, the god of mummification in the afterlife, meticulously attended to the scales, while Thoth, the divine scribe, stood ready to record the verdict. Presiding over this solemn judgment was Osiris, the lord of the underworld, flanked by other divine judges. A heart lighter than Ma'at's feather signified a life lived righteously, granting the soul access to the field of reeds, a paradise of eternal bliss. Conversely, a heart heavy with sin would be devoured by Ammit, the devourer of the dead, resulting in the soul's complete annihilation and eternal oblivion. This elaborate ritual underscored the ancient Egyptian belief in accountability for one's actions and the profound impact of morality on one's eternal destiny. In ancient Greece, the journey after death was a central aspect of belief, leading souls to a complex and multifaceted underworld. This realm, also known as Hades, was presided over by the god Hades himself, a shadowy subterranean domain where all the deceased eventually resided. It was not exclusively a place of punishment, but the universal destination for souls. Most ordinary souls found their eternal dwelling in the fields of Asphodel. This ethereal plane was a somber, misty landscape, where the departed wandered as insubstantial shades, living an existence devoid of intense joy or sorrow, largely forgetful of their earthly lives. It represented a neutral, almost desolate, state of being for those who were neither exceptionally virtuous nor heinously evil. In stark contrast, a select few were granted passage to Elysium, also known as the Elysian Fields. This blissful paradise was reserved for heroes, the virtuous, and those favored by the gods. It was depicted as a land of eternal spring, filled with lush greenery, gentle breezes, and perpetual peace, where souls enjoyed a joyful and active afterlife, a true reward for their earthly deeds.
Norse mythology presents a complex and vivid understanding of the soul's journey after death, heavily influenced by one's manner of passing. Central to this belief is Valhalla, the majestic hall in Asgard, presided over by Odin. It is here that half of those slain valiantly in battle are led by the Valkyries. Within Valhalla, these chosen warriors, or Einherjar, spend their days feasting, drinking, and honing their combat skills, perpetually preparing for the ultimate cosmic battle of Ragnarok. In stark contrast lies Helheim, the dreary, misty underworld ruled by the goddess Hel, Loki's daughter. This realm is the destination for souls who die of illness, old age, or other non-heroic causes. It is depicted as a cold, bleak place, separate from the valorous feasts of Valhalla. Additionally, another notable afterlife destination for warriors is Folkvangr, Freyja's field, where the other half of the slain are welcomed. This demonstrates a nuanced view of the afterlife, where destiny is not solely dictated by Odin, but also by other powerful deities, offering varied paths for the departed soul.
Indigenous spiritualities offer profound perspectives on the soul's journey after death, often centered on the enduring presence of ancestral spirits. These revered ancestors are not merely memories, but active, guiding forces, believed to watch over, protect, and offer wisdom to their living descendants. The spirit world in these traditions is not a distant, separate realm, but an interconnected dimension that deeply influences and is influenced by the physical world. It is a vibrant plane where the souls of the departed continue their existence, maintaining vital relationships with their communities. Through sacred rituals, ceremonies, and storytelling, indigenous peoples cultivate communication with these ancestral spirits, ensuring the continuity of cultural knowledge, spiritual guidance, and communal well-being. This worldview emphasizes the cyclical nature of life, death, and spiritual rebirth, illustrating that death is a transition, not an end, and that the bonds of kinship transcend the physical plane, sustaining a holistic balance between humanity, nature, and the spiritual cosmos. Neuroscience directly confronts the profound question of consciousness's physical localization within the brain. Current scientific understanding indicates that consciousness is not confined to a single anatomical region. Instead, it is hypothesized to emerge from the highly complex and integrated activity of vast neural networks spanning multiple brain areas. Functional imaging studies consistently demonstrate that subjective experiences, from perception to self-awareness, correlate with widespread dynamic patterns of brain activity, involving critical structures such as the cerebral cortex, thalamus, and brainstem, all working in intricate concert. While we can map these neural correlates of consciousness, the precise mechanism by which electrochemical signals transform into our rich, subjective phenomenal experience remains one of science's most enduring and significant challenges. The brain is undeniably the biological substrate, yet the spark of self-awareness continues to defy simple physical reduction. The concept of the soul as an independent entity faces significant challenges when considering the undeniable physical basis of mind and personality. Extensive scientific evidence demonstrates that our cognitive functions, emotions, memories, and even the very essence of who we are profoundly intertwined with the brain's physical structure and biochemical processes. When the brain sustains damage, whether through injury, disease, or neurodegeneration, we observe direct alterations or even the complete loss of personality traits, memories, and cognitive abilities. This direct correlation suggests that these attributes are not merely influenced by the brain, but are, in fact, products of its intricate operations. Furthermore, consciousness itself, the subjective experience of being, appears to emerge from complex neurological activity. There is no empirical evidence to support its existence independently of a functioning brain. Modern neuroscience continues to localize specific mental states to distinct brain regions and identify the precise chemical and electrical interactions that facilitate thought and perception, reinforcing the view that the mind is an emergent property of the brain rather than a separate non-physical entity. This perspective fundamentally questions the premise of an enduring soul distinct from our physical existence. Near-death experiences, or NDEs, represent a compelling phenomenon reported globally by individuals who have approached the threshold of death and subsequently revived. These profound, often life-altering accounts frequently describe a consistent sequence of events, including out-of-body sensations, traveling through a tunnel towards an intense, loving light, encountering deceased relatives, and undergoing a panoramic life review. The interpretation of NDEs spans a broad spectrum. Proponents often view them as compelling evidence for consciousness existing independently of the physical brain, suggesting a glimpse into an afterlife or a spiritual dimension. Conversely, scientific perspectives frequently explore neurobiological explanations, such as oxygen deprivation, endorphin release, or specific brain activity during the dying process, proposing NDEs as complex psychological or physiological responses to extreme stress. This ongoing debate challenges our fundamental understanding of consciousness, mortality, and the very nature of existence, fueling rich discourse across theological, philosophical, and scientific disciplines. Quantum consciousness theories postulate that the intricate processes of the human mind may involve quantum mechanical phenomena, moving beyond classical neuroscience. Proponents suggest that structures within the brain, such as microtubules, could act as sites for quantum coherent states, enabling phenomena like superposition and entanglement at a biological level. This theoretical framework proposes that consciousness might not be merely an emergent property of classical neural networks, but could be intrinsically connected to the fundamental quantum fabric of the cosmos. Such profound interconnections hint at the potential for non-local aspects of consciousness and a deeper, more integrated relationship between the observer and reality. These are speculative yet thought-provoking considerations in our quest to understand the nature of consciousness and its role in the universe. Parapsychology systematically investigates anomalous experiences of consciousness, challenging conventional understanding of mind and reality. Near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences offer profound subjective accounts, often describing vivid perceptions and a sense of consciousness existing independently of the physical body. Research explores phenomena such as veridical perceptions during altered states and other forms of psi, including telepathy or precognition, suggesting non-local aspects of consciousness. These investigations, though often controversial, utilize rigorous methodologies to examine extraordinary claims, pushing the boundaries of scientific inquiry into the nature of consciousness beyond biological confines. Scientific inquiry excels at dissecting the physical world, illuminating consciousness as an emergent property of complex neural networks, and detailing the intricate biological processes of life. However, when confronting the concept of a non-physical soul, science encounters inherent limitations. Its methodologies, predicated on empirical observation, measurement, and experimentation, are fundamentally unequipped to detect, quantify, or prove the existence of an entity that lies beyond the material realm. The soul's purported attributes, immateriality, transcendence, and post-mortem existence, place it firmly within the domain of metaphysics, beyond the scope of scientific instrumentation or falsification. While neuroscience can map brain activity, it cannot provide empirical evidence for a soul distinct from the body's physiological functions. Consequently, the ultimate questions regarding the soul's nature and destiny necessitate exploration through philosophical, theological, and spiritual frameworks, which complement rather than contradict scientific understanding by addressing different aspects of reality. Funerary rites, observed across every known civilization, serve as profound thresholds between life and the beyond. These sacred practices are meticulously designed not merely to dispose of the deceased, but fundamentally to guide the departed soul on its journey to the afterlife, ensuring its peaceful transition. From the elaborate mummification rituals of ancient Egypt, intended to preserve the body as a vessel for the soul's eternal dwelling, to the solemn, candlelit vigils of medieval Europe, where prayers were offered for the soul's salvation, and the vibrant ancestral veneration ceremonies in many East Asian cultures, each tradition reflects a unique cosmological understanding. Despite their vast differences in form and custom, a unifying purpose persists: to provide comfort and closure for the living while ceremonially ushering the soul into its next phase of existence. These rituals often involve purification, symbolic journeys, and communal mourning, all aimed at facilitating a respectful and spiritually secure passage for the departed. Grief is a profound and intensely personal journey, a natural human response to the loss of a loved one. It is not a process to be rushed or suppressed, but rather one to be navigated with patience and self-compassion. Remembrance offers a vital pathway through this journey. Through intentional rituals, storytelling, and the sharing of cherished memories, we honor the lives that have touched ours, celebrating their unique contributions and preserving their legacy. These acts of remembrance allow us to maintain a profound, enduring connection, not through physical presence, but through the continuous influence of their love, their lessons, and the indelible mark they left on our hearts and lives. This connection transcends physical absence, reminding us that love and memory persist. From the dawn of consciousness, humanity has grappled with the profound mystery of death. This innate curiosity fuels a universal quest to understand not only what happens to the soul, but also how mortality shapes our understanding of life itself. Across millennia and diverse cultures, we observe a relentless pursuit of meaning, manifested in intricate belief systems, philosophical discourse, and spiritual practices, all designed to reconcile our finite existence with a yearning for continuity. This slide explores the enduring human search for purpose in the face of our inevitable mortality, examining the varied frameworks through which we seek comfort, understanding, and hope regarding the afterlife. Having explored various perspectives, we arrive at a synthesis, the profound multitude of human answers to the ultimate question of what happens to the soul after death. Across civilizations and epochs, humanity has grappled with this enigma, yielding an extraordinary tapestry of beliefs. From the cyclical journey of reincarnation found in Eastern traditions to the definitive spiritual realms of heaven, hell, or purgatory in Abrahamic faiths, each offers a framework for understanding existence beyond the physical. Philosophical inquiries, too, range from the materialist view of consciousness ceasing with bodily functions to dualistic theories positing an enduring, non-physical soul. This diversity is not merely a collection of disparate ideas, but a testament to our universal human condition, an innate desire to find meaning, comfort, and continuity in the face of mortality. These varied responses reflect humanity's shared quest for solace and understanding, shaping cultures, ethics, and individual worldviews throughout history. Our exploration concludes with the most enduring and deeply personal question: what truly happens to the soul after death? This inquiry transcends cultural and historical boundaries, resonating with every individual who contemplates their own finite existence. While various spiritual and philosophical traditions offer rich narratives and comforting assurances, the precise nature of the soul's journey remains an experience beyond human articulation or empirical proof. It is in this space of the unknown that personal belief becomes paramount, shaping our understanding of mortality and providing a unique lens through which we confront the ultimate transition. This reflection is not merely an intellectual exercise, but an intimate journey into the core of our being, challenging us to consider the meaning we ascribe to life, death, and the continuum of consciousness.